All right, very good.
We still need another alternate.
1, 2, 3. We 6. We're good.
Huh? No, we got 5-member board and 2 alternates. We're 1 alternate short. We still need another alternate.
No, we need a
Yeah,
member.
yeah, that's right.
We need to recruit one. Anybody in the
Yeah.
audience want a job? It doesn't pay anything.
All right, okay.
Put your name in. We need an alternate.
Very good.
But you can't vote on your own article.
Thank you, thank you. I just want to welcome everyone, and it's very interesting. It's very good to be back after this pandemic. I want to thank everyone bearing with us for the last year and a half, throwing through Zoom meeting and all. I want to thank the staff, especially the planning staff, for helping us go through this, because I'm one of the persons horrible in computers, so they helped me a lot. So, and I want to thank all the board member, everyone, previous applicants. And again, it's definitely want to thank the staff at the planning, town employees, EMS, police, fire department. That being said, I want to send my deepest condolences, and the board as well, to every one of you who lost a loved one during this pandemic. I'm sure one of you lost a loved one or a friend or whatever. For that reason, let's take a moment of silence remembering them, and we'll continue. Okay, very well. Thank you very much. May they rest in peace. All right, very well. We're a little bit disoriented, so what's the date today? I need agenda.
23rd, right?
Ken, do you have an agenda, Ken? Is it? What's this? Is this the one? Oh, I have that. I have one. All right, very well. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Very well. I'll make a roll call to my, first we start, we have independent consulting professional engineer, Mr. Charles Rowley, our associate member, Chris Conti, regular member, Veronica Debonese, our clerk, Jim Akabachi. My far left is regular member, Jake Morrison, Mr. Richard Semble, an associate. Also present is our town planner, Ken Buckland. Our commissioner, he's not here tonight. Okay, we have no preliminary business, so we go to the continued public hearing. Before I go to continued public hearing, so nobody's waiting here tonight. In North Star Management, is anybody here for North Star Management 2400 Cranberry Highway? Because they asked for continuance. So no one's here, so that's good. So we don't want you to wait. All right, so we continue with the continued public hearing, 22-20, Frederick Mannix, on the variance and site plan review, 238 and 240 Sandwich Road. Come forward, please. State name and address for the record, and let's proceed.
Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street, Wareham.
Fred Munix, 188 North Street, Boston.
Okay, very well. Where did we leave it last time, and where are we?
So we received the peer review, which we thought was very thoughtfully done. And Fred can speak to that. We're talking to our engineers regarding the comments and revisions. So we don't have anything today necessarily to give to you.
For Mr. Rowley's letter?
Right.
Okay.
So I think it's an opportunity to hear your comments regarding the letter for Mr. Rowley to share those. And we are making progress. We're going to be submitting the full site plan review as requested, as well as the impact statement, all the things necessary.
Okay, before we go forward, I know Veronica missed one of the hearings under the Mullen rules. Under the Mullen rules, she could go back, engage. Did you review the minutes or read the tape or whichever?
I watched the video.
Yeah, so you comfortable to go back in?
Yes.
All right, so on this matter, just bear with me, and that is Richardson on that, right? That's Richard, right? Okay,
Mr. Chair, I have a question about this, this case. It says that he's here for a site review along with a variance.
Right.
And in our bylaws, 1565.3, it says that the planning board should actually be doing the site review, and we should
Right.
be doing the
Right,
variance.
but when you go for a variance, becomes a one-stop shop.
Well, that's not what it says here in the zoning laws.
It's a state law. Once you go for a variance,
State law, it says, in the zoning bylaws, it says if there's another application necessary for zoning relief, then it goes to the board that provides that zoning relief, and it's all done in the same, before the same board.
So maybe we should have our updated, because it says, in cases where a site plan requires a variance from the zoning bylaws, the zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing on the variance, and the planning board, acting as the permanent authority, would hold another on the site plan.
correct. But when it's on a certain project, but when they come first, if they come to us with this, it becomes a one-stop shop. I'm not an attorney, I'm not gonna argue, that's why I've been doing it. We'll have Mr. Buckland check on it, but that's how always been the case. If it was a matter like already going for a plan, it's, say for instance, what came before us, Chipotle and Starbucks. That was a planning board permit to begin with. So they needed a variance for the drive-through, so they came before us for that particular thing, then went back to them. But it started with planning board. Going back to Aldi's and Wendy's, they came with us from the start, so it becomes one-stop shop. That's how I always understood it for the last 30 years I've been doing project. Unless I'm wrong, we'll consult with Mr. Bowen, our attorney, we'll see what it is. But I believe that's how
So
we
then
do
maybe
it.
we should have this updated in our zoning bylaws, maybe? I don't know.
We can fix the language, I would say, so there's no, but I think the language is there. But you probably, there's a different place you read it.
Maybe below it.
I don't have the bylaw in front of me, Mr. Chair, but I know there is a section that you're referring to that does specifically talk about that, whether you're seeking those variances.
What section is it, do you know?
I don't have it in front of me.
I know for a
There is
fact.
language.
You should bring it, I didn't bring it with me tonight, but it is addressed in another portion of the bylaw.
Right. Anyway, while we're looking for this, did anybody had a chance to review Mr. Rowley's comments?
I read the whole thing from beginning to end. I also read the, in red, circulated via email, Ken Buckland's comments. 4 or 5 of the items are nice comments, but they're beyond our scope, if you will. I think my mic's on. It's just that I was talking very quietly.
All right, what, we would like to discuss it a little bit, but I think because it's been going for a while, I think there's gonna be, we should break this to 3 sections. I think we should act as soon as possible on the variance of the shed or the maintenance building. Second, we should act on the solarium variance to see where the applicant's going. And third, we go to the special permit with site plan. I want to ask the board member if they agree to this, because there's no sense going to a site plan and beat ourselves up and come up with the conclusion everybody is happy, then we go to variance and it's a no, it's a yes. So, Chris, do you agree with me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Veronica?
I'm not exactly clear. You want to look at the shed separately and have a vote on it, and then look
Yes.
at the atrium
Yes,
separately?
I would like to see us making a vote on the variance on
We
the
want to
shed.
make 3 separate votes.
3 separate votes, variance on the shed, variance on the solarium, and a site plan review.
Okay, and would these be at the same time, or are you
No,
saying?
separate, we could do vote tonight on the variances if we wish.
Get some of it out of the way.
Exactly,
Aren't
so
we
we
waiting
know how
on
we- how
documents
we
to
up-
make a decision?
Huh?
Aren't we waiting on documents to make decisions? The shed, I'm fine with.
Right, no,
But
the
I,
variance on the solarium, it's a preference on the board if they decide to go for it or not.
because other than that, then they would just be here for site plan review.
Site plan, but site plan is a lot of work, this is Mr. Rowley's comment, so we have to go through it.
Yeah.
But it might affect, the site plan might be affected with the solarium. So we have to decide which way we're going. It might affect traffic, parking, who knows? I don't know. So we have to decide so we're not crashing after. You know what I'm saying? Do you agree?
So you want to discuss the site plan after the variances have been decided upon?
That's my recommendation, and we'll see
Okay.
what the board feels.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm okay with 3 separate votes. I think, I hear Veronica's concern that she'd like to see the plan before she votes on any of the 3 items. And I think I kind of echo that sentiment.
But we do have the plans.
We don't have full plans, I don't believe.
We do.
We have floor plan, the architecturals, I thought we were
If we
waiting
can
on.
vote,
The architecture, they're gonna,
if we can vote on the plan in front of us with a date on it, I'm okay with it.
no, the architecture you don't have,
But
right?
if it's changed, then the
Because it was-
vote's no.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I wasn't prepared for that, but the site plan shows the maintenance building exactly as it is in the plans you have, except that it was relocated a little further forward.
Right,
To allow for, not being as close to the Dixon property.
right.
I explained that at the last meeting.
That-
And then as far as the solarium goes, Mr. Akabashi, he made a suggestion, which that part of the solarium that goes north is part of the exit. I can't take it off. I could put a pavilion up there it's going to be a covered walkway, so if you see the walkway, you're going to see what's behind it. As far as the solarium goes, nothing's changed on that. It doesn't affect the site plan. It would affect the stuff that you have.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree. Either we're gonna go with it or without it, so there's no sense arguing the site plan without the solarium. If it's out of the picture, so we argue the site plan. If it's in the picture, so we argue accordingly. Let me finish asking Jake, do you agree? Yes. Richard? Speak your mind.
Again, I'm a little with these folks. I thought we were going to get another set of plans. We were worried about how it was going to go. So, I mean, if these are the plans that we're going to vote on tonight, then I'm good. Like Jim said.
These site plans shows the location of the shed, and he moved it forward. I'm not concerned about this. But the site plan does not show, the architectural plan shows the solarium. We could argue it, we could vote for variance. If he gets granted, we could argue it, we want smaller, bigger, forward, backward, whatever the building code dictates. And if we vote it down, there's no sense talking about it. But the site plan, it does not affect the architectural plan.
Okay, well, I agree then.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think I'm clear on it. I would say that what I'm concerned with was there was discussion regarding the elevations, which are part of the architectural set. So I wouldn't be willing to make a determination on the variance of the solarium without elevations proper. There was like an 8-foot discrepancy or something that everybody was talking
Okay,
about.
okay. Well,
So-
we could, if you wish to make a variance, we could say, I know the height of the building right now, what that, 30?
Yeah, the elevation shows the height of the building itself from, I'm going to say, the 0 point. The grade comes down, and I believe it's about 2 feet, 2.2 feet or something like that.
Right.
So when you see 47 feet, the actual height is 49 feet. It's kind of confusing, but the building is 47 feet tall, but by code, by the definition and the height, it's actually 49 feet tall. It's 2 foot taller,
So
above the grade.
I think there was a question on the view, based on what was submitted, that it was not completely accurate.
Oh, okay, I know it. That is the view is the grade of the driveway. The architectural plans do not show the grade of the driveway. There's just the green in the architectural plan. I spoke to the architect about this. The green in the architectural plan shows just something as a placekeeper. The grade does, if you look at the grading plans, the grade and the site plan is exactly correct.
Okay,
just
so
doesn't-
that's
it
been
doesn't-
updated?
She just got the CAD drawings from J.C. Engineering, I believe, today. I was at JC Engineering today, and we went over, by the way, despite what I sometimes catch from Mr. Rowley, he did a very good job and a thorough job. He picked up some stuff there that I'm glad he picked up. And most of the things in that letter, some things don't apply. There's a couple of things about DOT that don't apply. There's a couple of things about the architectural that, apply, and we'll fix them. And there's a couple of good suggestions he made about the gravel area. You'll see that in the letter.
If I can interrupt you for just a quick moment, because I just want to get an answer to the question specifically, have the site plans with the grade been received by us, the updated ones? You said you got it today. Do we have those?
I don't
We
think,
have the grade,
you have the grades of...
The corrected?
grade, yes.
Okay.
And this
And the
is
site
drawn,
plan-
that's modified on May 25th. So these are the grades. There is more than 2 feet difference, as Mr. Manick states, but let me explain to everyone. The height of the building without the solarium complies with our bylaws. The solarium, was it 9 feet high, 8 feet,
The solarium, I believe, is 10 feet high.
10 feet? And then he has next to the solarium another, like, whatever it is, with the hip roof.
Oh, the tower.
The tower that adds another 6, so 16. So you're gonna weigh your options on the variance. You wanna give just a solarium and tower, or don't give it at all. This is what we're up to, but the building as itself does comply with the height. We will revisit this. It should be an average of the elevations, because the elevation here starts from 23 all the way to 30, so you get like 7 feet of grading.
If I may,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the grade is outside the building. It's not all the way down to the end of the property.
Oh, you mean you have a stone wall, because you have a stone?
Corners, the corners of
Okay, so
the
this-
grade at the corners, the existing grade at the corners
Okay,
of the
so the
building.
driveway is, but the corner's only about 2
Right,
feet.
the driveway
Okay.
goes further down.
So
and
we'll
the-
see like a stone wall.
What that is, in part of the comments, we went over it today, it was confusing. That's really a planter, and Mr. Rowley has suggested some structural issue there, but there really isn't, because it's like a planter box in the middle of a parking lot. It's designed to hide the fact that the foundation would be showing, so we put a planter on there, which is just a box, doesn't hold anything, there's no structural. The building foundation holds all this dirt. This is only to have something uniform. We'll put some kind of decor on it.
To carry the line.
Yeah, a brick decor, some kind of decor to match what we've got up top.
All right, let me ask you something. Say we grant this the way it is, then you go to the commissioner, and he says, I don't care for the planter, I'm taking the average and height from the average, and that's the bylaw. What are you gonna do then? You need another variance.
No, the planter has nothing to do with the average. The average is the driveway. The planter, what
They're
came
not
up...
measuring off that height.
No. What came up about the planter was that, in his comments, Mr. Rowley calls it a retaining wall. It's really a planter, and there's no use I can explain all of this stuff for the site plan.
Watering trough full of dirt and flowers.
The water, there you go. Took the words out of my mouth.
All right, but the point is, as long, the building itself, according to the plans, it complies, the height.
It complies,
Unless the commissioner say otherwise.
well, I mean,
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So our concern, again, we're gonna talk to Mr. Charlie bit about his comments as much as we can.
Yeah.
But our concern, do you guys feel comfortable to move along on a variance?
Well, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit gray. Do we customarily close the public hearing before we take any votes?
We could close the variance part of it.
Do you want to close that portion of the hearing and keep, okay, then
We could say we close the public hearing on the...
I make a motion, we close the portion of the meeting that deals with the outbuilding and take a
Shed.
vote right now
With the shed,
with the shed.
just for the shed.
Yes. That's a
Okay.
motion.
He has a motion. If we have a second, we have a motion to vote on. We have a second by Jake. Do I have a...
I
all in
make a
favor?
motion that we grant a variance to allow the
No, let's-
shed to be
let's-
positioned as shown on the plan.
Motion, hold on, let's make a motion to close on that building. So I have a second by Jake. All in favor to close On just the shed, on the shed, say aye.
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 Okay, motion closed on the shed. What's the?
My motion is to grant the variances as shown on the plan
Dated May 25th, 2021.
dated May 25th.
Okay, that's
That's
a
for
motion.
just the shed, right?
Do I have a second on
Just the
that?
shed.
I'll second that.
Second by Jake. All in favor, say aye.
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 Jake?
Jake.
Aye.
Okay, so the shed carries.
We're going to make findings on that as well.
Finding, the finding, okay.
It's not detrimental to the neighborhood.
No, it
Standard
meets the
conditions.
standard conditions meet statutory requirement of Chapter 40A, Section 10. If you, do you want me to write it down, or you want? All right. That's the finding. All right,
So now we're down to two. What are the other, one's the solarium, what's the other one?
solarium, and then the site plan.
So the solariums, and I make a motion, we close the portion of this hearing dealing with the solarium.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second to close on that. All in favor, say aye.
Deny.
Aye.
Aye.
Deny.
I deny as well, so it didn't
Okay.
carry.
So the solarium's still up in the air.
Right. Okay.
The height.
And now we can go ahead and we can do this, because
Right. So, solarium is, we made a motion to close it, didn't carry.
So it's
Didn't
still,
vote.
it's...
Right,
it's-
it's still
but we're-
okay.
We're done with it for tonight, is what I meant.
Right, we can re-argue.
There's no sense waxing redundant tonight.
Okay.
There's other business.
All right, what do, so, where are we gonna send this gentleman for homework to do for the solarium? What's the wishes?
Well, can I?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I have some comments and some specific things that I'd like to address after watching the last meeting,
Yeah,
if I could. So there was some question regarding the height. And I think it's been said a few times, maybe it's 10 feet over the height limit of 40 feet. However, I believe on the west side, which Jim, you had noted this, to the left of that elevator shaft, the building was continued on, but the height of that elevator shaft is actually 29 feet above the permissible height. Okay, so
Well,
that's,
Excuse me, the tower is, the elevator shaft wouldn't be that high, but the tower,
the
the
tower,
peak of the
which
tower.
houses,
Right, the peak of the tower, and the peak of the tower is the top of the roof. That's the way the town measures it. They don't go by the average on the gable. They go by the uppermost point.
yep, so that's
Yep.
29, okay. So that would be 66 feet, right. The solarium itself is at 47, is that right?
It's 47, but in the code, I stand corrected. I believe it is 3 feet, because 66 feet plus the 3 feet is the 69-foot variance I was seeking. The average grade is, Mr. Chairman?
yes, I'm listening.
Excuse me. The average grade is, it's not 2 feet, it's 3 feet more.
I do listen if I'm not looking,
Okay.
believe me.
But what we have here is, you reminded me when you said that, I applied for 69 feet, which is 3 feet more than the 67 feet that is shown on the elevation. So the height of the building, whatever you see there, you have to add 3 feet to it. So if the 37 feet that you show now for the top of the deck is actually 40 feet. The building is, the building by code is 40 feet tall. The solarium by code, I believe, what is it? I'm sorry, what does it say in the elevation?
What's
for
the height
solarium?
there restriction, 40?
What's the height to the very peak of the tower?
It says on here,
Tippity top of the tower.
66 it says for the tower, 47 for the solarium, and 36 for the roof deck.
Exactly. And so 47 on the elevation would equate to 50 feet on the code, because it's the average of the grade is the height of the building. It's not the actual height of the building, but it's the height in relationship to the grade. So the grade drops, the building stays the same, but the grade drops. My calculated height becomes 3 feet more. So what happens now is all those numbers you see, you got to add 3 to them. So the building itself is 40 feet tall. The solarium is 50 feet tall, and the tower is 69. By,
So we're gonna add 3 feet to that?
no, I'm adding the 3 feet because the variance would have to add the 3 feet, but the actual building is 3 feet shorter than what I just said.
Do you have to have the tower? I mean,
You know, Mr. Chairman,
that's another 16,
Yeah.
19 feet.
it,
Because if you look at it right now, you don't see the solarium if you're driving down Sandwich Road,
You
which
don't-
is
you know,
great.
the reason for the tower was a architectural feature on the inside. And I don't think it, I really would like to see the solarium in that lobby. The top of that roof, if that were gone, it wouldn't do a thing to the thing. It just wouldn't be as nice when you get off the elevator for the residents. But if the town feels it should be lower, I have no problem taking that roof and making it flat.
Can we have the east elevation of this? Who has that? The other, where the, from the other side, yeah.
I think the elevation is kind of stark, but it shows what we're talking about.
Should be on the January plans, right?
Yeah, yeah, so it's the same, the
The-
plans are the same.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I might have it in my car, but it's...
That's the
Well,
back.
yeah. Go,
That's from the east, southeast.
what number is that, Ken? Can you see it? I don't know. Can you go another page? Yeah, so maybe it's what's A12? Can you get to,
A11?
yeah, is it A11?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good view, A11.
First time I didn't bring all that crap.
I know, I'm sorry,
Like the
I brought nothing.
code book, I know, I didn't bring mine either.
Maybe revised site plan and renderings, maybe like the second one, 113.
113 is the one I just showed.
There's two 113s though.
Yeah, I showed both of them.
We did, so try 15. There's site plan.
Files and the pages don't, oh, there we go.
It'll be in this. There you go. Oh, can you please, just to give you an idea, if you can, the solarium is one wing of the lobby, and then the activity rooms are behind it. So the solarium, that lobby, that square, is the high part that you see in the plan. The solarium is 10 feet higher, you know, than the allowed. So can you go up a couple more, Ken? And then, that's the roof, okay. So this, the tower and the gable on the tower is all the height. If you took that and made it flat, it wouldn't be, it would still be a nice dramatic, it wouldn't be as dramatic. When you walk in there, it's a big cathedral ceiling, and it's just a gathering space that I thought would be nice. But I can see it is high. We took off that gable on the right side.
On the east end, you removed that.
Yeah, we removed that.
That
We can-
hip's
It's the
gone.
old
yeah. We
rear.
also changed the name of it. I mean, you can act on these plans, but they should be resubmitted with the corrections that we agreed to tonight if you grant it. And I don't have any problem, I've already gone over this with the architect, to take that off. I just wasn't prepared tonight. I thought we'd talk about the site plan, and I'd come back. But we talked about it, it would be, we would just wrap that mansard all around. I don't know if I can. So this, would just wrap around.
Just carry that roof line all the way.
The roof line all the way around, put some, use the glass, solarium, towel. The towel will be gone, the solarium will wrap around. So you come off the elevator, you have glass.
And what is that up there? Tar and gravel, rolled roof and membrane? What's on top? That's flat roof?
Flat roof with a deck on it for an outdoor deck.
But what's the roof to the solarium? Yeah, the solarium roof, what's that?
I would maybe shingle.
Shingles?
Timber, shingle. This
Okay.
shingle also. Try to keep it with the,
Asphalt shingles.
oh, yeah.
So, Mr. Maddox, would you remind me again how many rooms are in the building?
It's designed for 128 bedrooms with the sewer capacity. And I believe there's memory care and regular care. It varies from 95 rooms to 78 rooms or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't have the count. But the number of bedrooms is less. It's, on the plans, it's about 100 bedrooms, I'd say.
100?
Yeah, say 100.
Are bedrooms and units and all the same, is a bed?
No, if you,
Some units have more than one bedroom?
no, I think.
All single
I think
bedroom?
2 units have 2 bedrooms.
Two
all single.
units have 2
Yeah.
bedrooms?
All single. And the memory care doesn't have a kitchenette, there's 2 bedrooms in a unit.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was getting at, was the number of units, not necessarily the bedrooms.
I've been using 80, I hate to say it varies, but you can't have more bedrooms than I'm allowed.
So, something that, what's the hardship on this, if you will? For the variance?
The variance?
On the solarium, she means.
For the solarium. The solarium and the deck is there because I'm in a hollow. Plymouth Road rises, 28 rises. We want to bring all the activities on the roof to get it out of the backyard. There's some activity down there, but we want to be able to do that and have a space, open space, up in the sun. It's not a hardship so much, it's a hardship on the people that would occupy, for the kind of occupancy we want in there, which is intermediate care. You want to get people out in the fresh air, and we thought that would bring the fresh air up. We're bringing the deck up top.
So,
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I missed emphasis.
Probably address that.
Yeah, I would say, in the initial submission, which we started last fall, we've gotten a lot of feedback since then, which we're very grateful for, from the fire department, from the board. And when you look at the site, it really is an impracticability for the solarium to go on anywhere on the grounds. We have space for the fire truck to come around. We have the parking necessary. So it's not like a space that we could move down onto the ground. So where can we put it? Up on the top. And then not to mention all the benefits that we've talked about regarding seniors and being able to have this space for them. So it is a hardship because we can't put it on the ground. A solarium would not fit or be practical on the bottom of the site or anywhere else. So, and we've seen through all the feedback looking at the site itself. So, we really hope that this is a great thing for the community. Speaking to everyone about it, they're excited. So, if we can work with you guys to, modify the tower possibly, Fred
that's-
seems amenable to that.
I'm amenable.
The height variance would go down quite a bit. So I'm hopeful maybe we can get some renderings to them for that.
well, I'm gonna tell you what I think. You've been before us a lot, and we've mentioned several times different options to try and decrease the height of the building. I think our bylaws allow for many units on a small lot. 5 acres is not big. If you're very limited, anybody else would be very limited on how many units they could put on 5 acres of land. So,
2 acres.
Oh, 2 acres, oh,
It's- yeah.
okay, so even less. But, so you're getting 100 units on 2 acres, and I understand that you want to maximize what you can put there, and there's definitely a need for the housing. That being said, I feel like the town allows for a lot of units, but it gives you parameters to work within. I know that you're trying to upgrade this and put the atrium. I love the atrium, and I love the little tower that's beside it. Well, not so little, but the tower that's beside it. However, in my mind, there really is no hardship to allow that to go in, as much as I like it and would love to see that on there. So we've said several times, lower down, either remove an entire floor or put the solarium on a wing or put the solarium in the middle. Just bring that total height down so that you could fall within what the guidelines are of the bylaws. And I'm in the position of now trying to withhold the bylaws that are in place, but yet I feel like I'm going to be taking away a potential. This is a great amenity, I guess, to this assisted living facility for elderly who are going to live here, and it's going to add pleasure, I think, to somebody's life. I wish you could do it within the bylaws, because I would like to see this stay here, but I just can't, I don't know, at this point, I don't agree that we should allow this, because there's no hardship here to allow the building to fully take up all of the space that you're allowed, but then put something extra on the top because it will add to things. I think that you should use the space that you have as much as you can for the units you have, and then incorporate that great feature into that space that you're allowed.
May I
That's
take a
my
minute?
thought.
Yeah. go ahead.
So I understand what you're saying, but if they really want, they can just go to the town hall right now and just build it like that without the solarium. And then there's going to be a lot of elderly people that are not going to have a solarium, but they went by the bylaw. So it makes sense for them to get rid of that and just build it, and they're still going to fill it right up with people, and it's not going to be as nice. That's just me.
Well, I
I have a question. From a business point of view, it seems, in round numbers, we've got 100 units.
100 or 80?
100 units, we got 4 floors, it's
He said
25
100.
units per floor. If you knock the whole floor off, you're taking 25% of your income, or does the project become
you know,
financially not feasible?
everything, I mean, it's not that it's not an income thing, but one of the situations here in the hardship in the land, the surrounding land there, let me back up. If I build a building lower,
If you
and I-
get 3 stories instead of 4.
well, yeah, but 3 stories is 30 feet. And the trees in the front that we plan to plant, and when they're mature, 25 to 30 feet tall, to kind of blend in and kind of make the building be behind the trees. Then I want to take advantage of the sun, because in this site, you know, the higher it is, if it's at the top, and it's up at that height, the trees that we planned in the landscape plan are 50 feet tall. Now, I'm talking maturity, I'm not going to see them, but the town is. And it's surrounded by 50-foot tall trees, and the whole property is down 10 feet because of Route 28 and Plymouth Road, and as you come down Sandwich Road. So the building gets surrounded by greenery, you know, a canopy, and then the south-facing, I don't think, it's wide open to the south, and it's a perfect place to have a solarium. But it's not so good if you drop it down. So the solarium goes down, and the trees for the landscaping will hide the solarium. The sun won't come in. So I think that you can't have both things. The solarium, I really personally would love to see it, because I think it's a great amenity, and I think it's good for the residents, not so much for the whole town, but the residents of the town, very many of them are going to end up in there. So it would be good for the residents of the town. And the other thing is, the whole idea of this thing was to put it in the back, so you hardly see it anyhow. In a 25-foot, 30-foot high tree in front of a building that's set back close to 50 feet, and that's set back another 20, 25 feet at the top, you just won't see it. All we see in the perspective is the tower If the tower is gone, you wouldn't see anything from the neighbors. And I just don't think it's, I know what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, but you gotta, that's what the board is for, to make an exception to the rule. And I think,
Let me ask something, just, how many parking spaces you have total now?
well, right now I have 60. And,
What would you come up with, how'd you finalize it with the commissioner? We don't have anything from it.
well, he didn't want to, well, he didn't want to give us a letter, but he wanted to categorize it as elderly. You can, maybe you can
Yeah,
address
that-
that.
In the bylaw, if you look, it's intermediate care, nursing home,
Right.
and convalescent home.
Convalescent.
So that's what the parking is based upon.
One,
We need something from him. Let me
Yeah.
explain how this goes.
Yeah.
Even if we grant you site plan, according to, you could go back to him and he says does not meet parking spaces, he could send you back to a variance. I'm just trying to plan ahead so we don't clash. Same with the height, same with everything. He could always deny a permit and send you back.
did he give us a letter?
No.
You're gonna need to address this issue. I was under the impression it was 80 units to begin with, and you had 66 parking. It doesn't matter to me how many units we have. We have to hear from him based on the parking. We have to have something in hand to say we granted that special permit according to your letter.
Right.
How do I, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I don't know how to put this, but we have asked for a letter and, through my counsel, and she can explain. I don't have a
He has to
letter.
give you a letter, either yea or nay. He has to. I'll talk to him tomorrow. We need a letter either to say how many parking, that's how it is. If he says 10 parking spaces, 10 parking. If he says 100, then you need a variance for that. I don't know how many parking. We don't know how many parking for the intermediate care.
Well,
You understand?
excuse me, intermediate care, nursing home, and convalescent care, which has the same meaning as intermediate care. It's one parking space for every 4 bedrooms.
And that's designated already in the
That's
the parking
designated in the
code. So-
parking code. He's calling it
I
intermediate
understand,
care.
but we need direction from the commissioner. We
Exactly.
follow the rule, we interpret the laws, we don't make them, and all our decisions based on that letter he
Right.
gives.
Okay.
You know
Mr.
what I'm saying?
Chairman.
If he didn't send you for a variance for the solarium, we wouldn't be speaking about it. You
Mr. Chairman,
understand?
in the parking zoning bylaw that we have, I know he's a zoning officer that determines that, but that's in situations where it isn't already designated in our code, is my understanding. And we're talking about that it is,
Now it is designated.
because we've switched, we're not assisted living, it is an intermediate care center, so it's already designated. I can follow up with him as well.
Can you,
It's not a variance or a special permit. What they're saying is,
by right?
it's 4 to 1. It's four,
Okay.
it's 4
Can you pull out this bylaw and bring it to us next
Yeah.
time?
Yep. It's in,
Okay,
it's in,
so
it's in the
if that's
parking.
what the bylaw says, I guess
Yeah.
it's the
The
bylaw.
bylaws,
I
and they
didn't
only
read
need
it.
40 spaces, they got 60, they're 20 over.
Okay.
What's happened there, Mr. Chairman, is that there's 48 of the spaces are inside the building, so I can't really, I can't get rid of them, so that's what they are. I don't need them according to intermediate care. It says assisted living on there, he wanted me to change it to intermediate care. The new plans will show that. But
Okay.
intermediate care is one for every 4, and I can't get rid of it. And I believe there are 12 outside, 48 inside, 12 outside for visitor parking, for stuff like that. So the parking is in the code for this use.
Mr. Chair, I have
Oh.
a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to get off the subject of the parking, but what, I remember looking at the plans, I don't have them in front of me, but I have looked them over before. You have a gathering room on a certain floor. What floor is that?
The first floor, you're talking about with the
You have a big,
kitchen and
you have a big room.
Dining room?
dining room, yeah. That's on the first floor, and it's in the north wing.
I'm not trying to rebuild this whole thing, but if you move that room up on the top floor and use just lights from your solarium to light that down, you're still getting the light, and you're also getting a gathering area. I know you're trying to give residents a joyful time while they're there and enjoy it, but it just seems like you're trying to give them an awful lot between the solarium, the tower, and the the dining area. If you put that up on the third floor, the fourth floor, and had some kind of glass around it, you get your light, you get your gathering, you get all that. That's,
You mean without without going up?
if you incorporate and put that floor on the top floor, that room on the top floor,
Mhm.
and then somehow get your light from somewhere else, you can eliminate that huge tower that's there. I think
Problem-
it's a sticking point is the tower because
Yeah.
of the elevator over travel to get people up to the solarium, right?
Yeah, the elevator over travel, you wouldn't see that at all, and that's not even
But it
included
has
in
to
the
go,
height.
it has to go higher than the floor.
Has to go higher, one more floor. Yeah, no, I agree. But we could make that, the lobby is kind of a thing that I would like to see, but if I can't have it, I wouldn't give up on the solarium to save the lobby. I mean,
I was just trying to
yeah.
give him
No,
another
that's-
choice.
that's-
It just seems like you're trying to give him something. If you have that area, you pushed it up, then you put the glass around it to get the light in, you're getting your light, and you're getting gathering, you're getting everything without all this extra structure up there. I just
Okay.
wanted to say.
part of the extra structure up top, yeah, this is the, down below. Part of the extra structure up top is for an exit. So I tried to
I
use
got
your
it.
suggestion. I have to have a stair tower at the far end, so whatever, to get from one point to the other, even if it's only 4 feet wide, that's all you'll see is that wall. So it doesn't change anything from the site, if you
got
follow
it.
what I'm saying. All right, it's like a false fence. The tower, the tower could be made more glass to eliminate the problem with the, not a problem, but the problem for the board, to have that height. I could put some skylights in there for that look, I could make it look bigger, but I can't change the solarium because the sun has to come in. But Mr. Bonet suggested one time about skylights. I could do that in place of the tower to give that look. It'll be open when you come off the lobby. I'm trying to create an atmosphere that's really pleasant. No one is living up there. We're not using that for revenue. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just people going up there to sun themselves. And I think if we did something more creative with the corner, we could cut that right off. It wouldn't affect the residents. I think it would look a little better, but you can't see it anyhow, so.
My
yes.
comment is just because I feel for the people who actually live there that are gonna look at it every single day. The height on it is a concern. It's, whatever you do to it, I'm just more concerned about the people that are living on that street.
Exactly.
That are gonna have to look at it. That's what my concern.
So, Mr. Semple, the people that live in the street, directly across the street, I can demonstrate it to the board, I wasn't prepared, with a tall tree, they won't see it, they'll hardly see the building. I mean,
They're gonna have to wait until that tree matures before they won't see it, right?
No, the tree's existing.
well, it may not, no, he's right.
Okay.
Tree,
okay.
no, he's right.
I
The
thought you were
tree,
gonna keep some
the problem with the tree is some of the roots go under the sidewalk. I mean,
Good.
they're bad
You're not
trees.
talking large caliper transplants then.
No, I can only, no,
Okay.
no, he's right. But you still don't see it because it's so far back. We put the whole thing in the back, the solarium. So
So, excuse me, through the chair, but going back to what Ms. DeBenise said earlier, maybe we do need to see more drawings, and maybe it would be good if it was a rendering from across the street showing.
the rendering that's in there now, Mr. Akabachi, is,
I'm saying with trees and, like you see on TV when you watch NCIS, and they, they can do it on TV. For a $200,000 project like this, you could probably spend $50 on a rendering.
well, I tell
For
you,
them $200,000 to build that building.
every time I give you 8 sets of plans, it's
Yeah.
$560 just for printing costs. So, for $50.
So,
No, I hear
maybe
you.
more evidence is what's needed, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
But even if I do a rendering of mature trees, he's correct, the building's there, but you don't see that solarium, and you see it in the view. The view is from across the street, the view is from Sandwich Road. That, you have one
Right,
of them.
but if I may, but the building is only like 30 feet away from the road. He's right. It's not like you set back 100 feet. Let me come up with something. what happened if you lose a whole floor and make some one bedroom, and you still get your 190 units, and then the problem is solved?
Or even, you could even lose just a half a floor and move the atrium to a side of the building or to the other part of the L, and
Do they all have to be 2 bedrooms?
No, none of them are. There's only a couple, I think, in the corner. We might have eliminated that when we
They're
did,
all 1 bedrooms?
yeah.
All
It-
one.
it-
I thought I heard all.
And I like the peak on the tower. I think it gives the building a little dimension because it's very square. It's just the height, and I just feel
You
like
know-
you're trying to
How many square
stuff
feet
a
is that
lot into 2
solarium?
acres.
I'm sorry, Brian. How many
Oh,
square
I-
feet is that solarium?
75 by 25. Can anybody help me?
1,500 square, 1,600. So
Yeah.
1,500, you could lose, I mean, what's your unit? 500 square feet, 300
Well,
square feet? a unit?
basically, not exactly now, but initially 25 foot on center is my supports. So each unit is, the big units, the memory units are smaller, but a unit is 25 feet between units,
25 by what, a unit?
about 28.
Okay, so you're looking about 700 square feet.
Yeah, it's a little under,
So if
little under,
you could take,
620 or
all
something.
right, so you could lose 3 units at the end, 4 units, and put towards the garage entrance where the height, because remember, you 5 floors in the front, you 6 at the end. With the garage, because the garage under, that's another floor. So put your solarium at the end and lose 3, 4 units, and put the solarium, and problem solved.
What do you mean, like build it into the 4th floor?
Towards Upper Cape. Yeah,
It's Upper Cape.
towards the highway. So lose 4 units, and
Okay,
drop
well-
the solarium there, and then problem solved. You don't even need us for a variance for a height.
Well, let me make a statement to the board that I haven't made before. I started this project with some input from the town, and I don't know if Ken, if you remember this from way back. When I suggested it, I was asked, can I make the solarium a little bit bigger? They wanted to, do you remember that
I
at all?
totally understand.
Yeah,
but
he
the
does. No, I'm
problem, the
not-
bottom line,
No, I know.
at the bottom line is what the board decides. I
No,
mean,
exactly.
I understand
No.
if he gives you
No, no,
carte blanche, him and the administrator, if 2 people says no,
Mr. Chairman, no, it's not, I'm not.
trying to help you.
I know you're trying to help me, but, Mr. Chairman, I was under the impression the town would like to use that as a community center from
Absolutely.
time to time.
And I
So-
agree too.
And they asked me to make it bigger. I made it long, I made it 25 feet long. It's 25 foot, I can make it 25 feet shorter. But I don't think it's going to affect the look of it, because if you can't see it from Sandwich Road, because it's set back so far, what difference does it make if it's longer or shorter? I talked to my architect about that, and we took the whole thing off. It doesn't make any difference. The building is the building, but the setback, you say it's 30 feet, it isn't, it's 50, because the driveway is 20 feet wide.
Right, when you get the setback, the pavement, the layout of the road,
It's 50 feet
it's
back.
50 from the pavement.
Right, 50 from the pavement, and it's, let's say it's 50 feet high, a 45-degree angle, anything in front of it, 25 feet tall, 20 feet tall, no feet tall, you don't see the back. So, problem here,
Totally understand, but
Okay.
this is where you're up to.
I know.
Let's be clear, and there's no sense to
no, I don't want to go back and forth.
ourselves. You have 2 people you have to convince, Veronica and Mr. Sample.
And I will,
I don't know how you need to convince them. I'm in the edge, I'm okay with it. I guess Jim and
Yep.
Jake for it. You have to cater for them and convince them or alter your plans. Come up with plans, discuss it. You can legally discuss with them off the meeting, the 2 separate, by themselves, discuss it with them legally if you wish.
well,
That's totally legit.
let me present this. Mr. Rowley gave me a good roadmap to go by, and I think we can agree on
Okay.
whatever.
We're gonna get to
We're gonna
Mr.
fix that. He wants a test pit done. I agree with that, but it's gonna take a week or 2 to figure, I gotta get an excavator out there,
I know, I
take some time.
understand.
In the meantime, I would like to come back to the board with some suggested, I gotta have some drawings. You can't listen to me waving my hands around.
Right,
I know what I'm looking at, but you don't.
right.
So I can do that. I think it's a good idea, and I'll take your suggestion.
I mean, if you want to spend the money in the drawings, very clear drawings, the way
Yeah.
it is, bring it to them or to us, and then let's look at it.
Right.
Or if you want to modify a little bit, talk to them personally. If they give you the emails, the phone numbers, I welcome this to
If that's,
discuss it.
if that's okay, I will do it.
People, you cannot discuss with a third, like me and Jake and Jim can talk to us about
Okay,
it,
but-
who you can,
It's not so much, yeah, I get you.
okay? But before we go forward, I want to, go ahead, Chris.
I'd like to ask some questions. This is now like a care center, right?
Right.
And it's not an assisted living place. Now,
Right.
care center that I thought was, or temporary care, it was a temporary place for people to go for therapy and to recoup from different stuff now. Are we just putting a new name on it? Has anything changed with the floor layouts? I would think there would be more therapy rooms and more of a change, rather than just changing the plans to now say care center. I would think some of the layouts would change to accommodate more of an intermediate type care.
It's not something that we asked the building commissioner, he suggested I didn't have to change the plans, I had to change the use, which we did. It's a it was always planned to have, intermediate, nursing home is defined in the zoning code.
Yes, I understand.
Intermediate care is defined in the zoning code, and it shall have the same meaning as convalescent care. And it's basically the level of medical need that takes place. So this project could have a combination of medical needs. Assisted living, I don't want to go through that again. You know, the building commissioner wants me to call it intermediate care because that's what he feels it is, and
We're
that's
going
what
by
it is.
what he says.
And that's defined. And as far as the layout goes, I think I've always said to the board, all the floor plans are indicative because depending on how you use it, those partitions, the non-bearing, except for the 25-footers, that gets reconfigured. I have given you two, I believe it was you, Mr. Semple, that wanted an idea of how the memory care would be. And we have two alternate floor plans, one for memory care, one for without memory care. Memory care requires a little bit of an outdoor space that's enclosed. So it's indicated in the plans. As far as the use goes, that would be the use, elderly, intermediate, or convalescent.
I just assumed that with the different uses, you would have a different floor plan.
No,
And,
it's really about the same. It's a level of medical care from
So it's
very-
not really,
very little.
it's not really a temporary place for people to come and
No,
recoup?
people would live there. It'd be an old folks' home. It's for elderly. It's not for elderly, not elderly. It's for people who need that kind of care. Elderly housing is 55 and up. It's not that.
People do go to assisted living and decide it's not for them and go back to single-family living, but usually assisted living, we're gonna call it a different name for the satisfaction of our bylaw, but usually this type of facility is one step closer to the pearly gates.
Yeah, either that or hospice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before I
unfortunately.
go to Mr. Charlie, anyone in the audience want to discuss, say any comments on that? I hear nothing. I want to go to Mr. Rowley. Charlie, I did go through this. Everything makes sense.
Yep.
The only thing I disagree on the first sheet on at DOT, I don't think they'll take the application before a local approval. That's the thing. He cannot go for a curb cut before a local approval.
I agree.
So he needs a local approval, then go to,
Yes.
right?
Do you want to go through this?
Yeah, well, let's go
But
through
she-
it, but because
okay.
here you're saying we're gonna see what DOT says, the location of the entrance and everything. It's his loss, whatever he present, whatever we agree on, he goes to DOT and they change it, he's gonna have to come back,
I understand.
okay?
Yep.
All right, go ahead, let's go with let's listen.
I only received the copy of my letter with some red additions on it that came from Ken, so I'd like an opportunity to respond to those. I don't fully agree with some of the statements that he made, so I'd like to be able to offer it to the board, and you make your own
What
decision
kind
as to
of
what it is.
statement?
Okay. On page 2,
Yeah,
under sheet 3 of 10,
yep.
I noted that it said there are 2 patio areas at grade on the most northerly end of the proposed building. There needs to be an interior wall that will support the patios above the parking garage area. And he said this is structural and building code issues not under the ZBA's review, but it's a mistake on the plan not to have that wall there. And it's got nothing to do with structural or code issues. It's a wall that's acting like a retaining wall to support those patios, and it simply needs to be drawn on the parking view plan.
So the wall, you're saying it goes in the driveway, entering the garage?
If you look on,
What page on the plan? On the site plan?
Can you put it for us?
look on page 3 of 10.
Okay.
If you look at the most northerly end of the building, which has been the subject of some of your discussion tonight, you see the 2, they look like brick patterns. It says patio beneath building overhang.
Yeah,
All right. That's at a level which is above the parking elevation. What you're looking at is the parking garage underneath. So in order for those patios to be there, there needs to be a wall, a structural wall, that is at foundation grade and at the same level as the rest of the foundation for the garage area.
so
There
the
needs to be a
found-
wall
You're
across there.
saying that black wall line, the foundation wall, the black line, like about a eighth of an inch, it should come in to carry them, it should show
It needs to be the backup for the patios, because right now there's nothing there.
for the weight.
And, right, and what you're looking at is the upper floor level. If you look at the views of the building, what you're looking at is the area that's actually an overhang. So the actual foundation of the building is the interior line that separates the compact parking spaces 42 and 43 from the patios. So there simply needs to be a line across there, that's all.
Okay,
But it affects the, it affects the plan, and, you know, the solid line across there makes it a little more difficult for anybody to get out of those 2 spaces. But the architectural plans, in addition to that, show a stairwell coming down to the garage floor area, in between the patio areas.
unless he uses stressed concrete, then he could span.
Well, whatever it is, I'm not saying that I'm trying to figure out the structural aspects of it. All I'm saying is there needs to be a wall there, that's all.
Right, let me, okay, if we approve these plans the way they stand, he goes into his structure engineer, if he recommends stressed concrete, and he could, which he can do that, span, and then he's good, he comes to the commissioner with the wall in there, I guess we could go back and say, listen, you have a problem backing up parking 42 or 43, that make sense?
Yeah, if it's a solid wall across there, I think you would have trouble backing out of those spaces.
Unless he puts stressed concrete.
No, it doesn't matter what he puts there, it's a barrier to being able to back around and pull out.
I'm sorry, I don't want to get, I'm
Go
trying
ahead.
not to prolong this. I can answer those, Charlie. You don't have the, that could be, it's over the storage area in the garage.
No, it's not, it's over the overhang. Take a look, Ken, if you can, pull up the rear view of the building that shows the architecturals.
So those patios are a floor level, like at the yard level?
No, yes, 9 feet above the garage floor,
Or above?
yes. And
Not
they
the-
need,
Not the ground level. So
That's
you have a
correct.
second patio.
they are at ground level, but that's 9 feet above the garage elevation at that point. So it needs to have a backup, it needs to have, like a retaining wall, that's sort of in the garage to hold those patios up, because it's tucked in under the lower floors or the upper floors of the building. The upper floors of the building have a cutout there. and the ends of the building are held up by columns,
So 20, 40.
and those patios are underneath. That's correct. You're looking at it right, Chris.
17, 17, 34,
So it's like a foundation wall.
34, and 20, 58 feet. You could get a stressed concrete 58.
It makes it look like those patios in that drawing you just had are in the garage. They're not. They're 9 feet above that.
Right.
So across
They're on
that
top of
patio,
the
it needs a
garage.
wall.
They're on top of the garage. The garage is under.
No.
I'm not following you. They're in the they're on the first floor, and the basement's under them. So you're saying they need support in the basement, which is the garage?
They need a wall, a back wall to the patios to hold the patios up. Otherwise, it's just dirt. There's nothing to support the patios, is what I'm
Mr.
saying.
Chairman, I
It's a
really,
foundation wall.
Okay, so make a wall, I guess.
Just draw the wall on the plan. That's all I'm asking.
yeah, no, that's,
All right, that's fine. Draw a wall on the plan.
yeah, we can answer that. I don't,
All right, let's get over this. Draw a wall on the plan.
we'll correct that. That becomes an unexcavated area,
Thank you.
Charlie, but that's all right.
It's not an
We-
issue there.
Yeah.
All right.
The one that that Ken brought out again had to do with, sheet 5 of 10, had to do with the drainage and the, design of the pump station for the sewer lines.
Yes.
I agree that a certain portion of what's in my statement on number 4 is with Mass DPW
Right.
in terms of the location and what some of the details will be within their layout. However, the pump station is not. Now, if the details for the pump station, such as the number of pumps, the capacity of the pumps, the volume of the pumps,
Right.
the generator and so forth that goes into the details of the pump station are not a part of this board's purview. My question is, whose purview is it?
Sewer commissioner. Sewer
Typically, Mr. Campina's department does not actually review the design. We went through that with Bay Point in a development down there, and it's a private pump station, just as this will be. So typically, those details would come here.
How many bedrooms we have total now? 100, 120?
There's 128 are allowed for the capacity. We won't use that many, but
128.
120, 14,080 gallons.
14,080 gallons
Yep.
per day. So he's gonna have to have some engineer
Yep.
with his rubber stamp designing alternative plan, definitely gonna have alternative pumps with generator, all this, and put his signature.
I
Able
understand.
to handle 1480 unless the sewer commission requires an additional, say, 50%. I don't know what they
Well,
require.
if you don't feel it's this board, then I would suggest that contact be made with Mr. Campina's office and ask him
I
if
would.
their
I mean,
office is
if
going to
we-
review
if
it.
If we tell them we need a pump that a system that handles 2,000 gallons, 20,000, and it goes to Mr. Campina, says, you know what, it needs 14,080. I don't want 20,000, or he might say, I want 30,000. So it's not our call. So let Mr. Campina
It's-
and the sewer commission decide.
That's, typically, it's the design engineer's requirement to actually come up with a flow figure.
Right.
To discuss that with Mr. Campina and say if he says that that's okay. If he does, he brings that back and he incorporates into the plan of the design. Because
Right.
at some point,
It needs
all
to
of
be
that's going to
addressed.
have to be
I totally
approved.
agree. I have to mention, if it's, if the resident's 55 and older, you don't need 110 per bedroom. You need like 75, I think, the number. So it might be smaller pump. Check on this. But this is not our jurisdiction, so we don't know.
Just let me interject, Mr. Chairman. We've agreed to, I believe in the letter with the sewer commissioner, we've agreed to not only run it by them, but we've agreed to check the pump that's existing now down in Linwood Pump, and we've agreed to upgrade that pump if my 14,000
There's a
gallons.
pump there somewhere?
Their own, the town's pump
Where?
at Linwood Ave, I believe, not Linwood, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
so you're
It's
gonna
down
go
at-
gravity to Linwood?
Gravity to Linwood.
You're gonna
No,
go
no,
gravity?
Pressure to Linwood, and then Linwood Ave has a manhole that goes to a pump station, at their end, in the town.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's complicated. They have to come up.
So
So
that
you have
pump-
two systems. You might have to upgrade the towns as well
I
as
would-
yours.
That's in my,
All right.
letter. I don't know if you have the letter, Charlie, but it's in the letter.
Makes
No.
sense?
That I have to
No?
upgrade the town's pump if my 14,000 gallons will cause that town pump to have to
Right.
be upgraded.
J.C.'s plan says that the design of the pump station will be done at a later time. That's all he says.
Yep.
In my view, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it
So
has to
if
be.
we're not going to look at it, if my role here is not to look at that design and give you a report on it, then I would request that a letter be received from Mr. Campina's office as to what he expects the approval process will be and who will do that approval on behalf of the town.
I would recommend, Counselor, you guys go, Mr. Campino,
Yeah.
and go before the commission and get a letter, get something from them. See which way you're heading.
Mr. Chairman, we have a letter from the commission, and it states that I'm allowed 14,000
Okay.
gallons, and if it creates a problem...
Absolutely. So you're good with the commission, you need to go to Mr. Campina
Okay.
and address the issue of the town's pump on Linwood and your pump and coordinate it with your engineer. And
Mm-hmm. No,
have your
I-
engineer, your mechanical engineer, put his stamp on it, and I guess it's on
Just-
him.
Just to reiterate, it's not a question of the volume, agreeing with the volume. If Mr. Campina and Mr. Mannix have agreed on 14,000 gallons a day, I don't care what the flow is. I'm interested in the design of the pump station. It's going to be a private pump station.
Right.
That somebody's going to have to maintain, and I'll guarantee you, it won't be Guy Campina.
No.
So,
Well, they're gonna have to bring a separate engineer, mechanical engineer, to design that pump. We don't
I
know.
think Charlie's point, is it above ground, below ground, in the
I don't care
building?
whether it's above or below,
Most
Jim.
likely below ground with a
Yeah,
big
but-
20,000 gallon pump, alternate pump.
It's...
But your engineer will have to draw at one
Is it
at
on
one
top of
point.
the solarium?
Mr. Chairman, I agree, I hear what he's saying, but the cart is being before the horse.
I
If
understand.
if I don't have a
There's no sense
project, I don't
going-
have an engineer.
Go hire an
And I-
engineer, design
I
the
believe-
sewer
I
pump
believe- right.
until you have
And the
that.
state, I think the state plumbing has something to say to it, too. The sanitary code has something to say to it. It has to be approved that
Not
way.
mechanical engineers to know, so that's the problem.
Right. No, I
Let's go
agree.
forward. So this is gotta be apparently addressed with the
I
right
would-
people, not with us.
Right.
And of course, a plan will have to be submitted to us when the time comes. All right, let's go next one, Charlie.
The other comments I made under garage parking were basically for your information. I wasn't suggesting one thing or another, but I think it's worthy of the
What
board's...
sheet?
The last sheet of my letter, where it talks about garage parking. I only wanted to make it known to the board that the fire department and, as well as the inspectors, will be looking at the enclosed garage space for what they have to look at in terms of ventilation. As it turns out, there's a international mechanical code
Right.
that defines how that parking space is to be ventilated.
Correct.
I was just making that as a comment to the board so that you
Right,
know.
it's gonna be
If it's
submitted.
going to be up to them, that's fine. I did
At
ask
the
a
time,
question.
I think this is a part of the building permit with the ventilation.
According to the Wareham Fire Department, it's the International Mechanical Code which they are responsible for reviewing.
That's right. So when they file their permit with the town, bring 8 plans, one goes to fire department, one goes to police.
That's right.
The fire department will come back, says it complies or it doesn't, so.
So that comment in number one, I agree with. It's not necessarily anything you have to decide.
Right.
I was just bringing it to your attention. Item number two, I thought was something that should be of interest to the board as to whether or not there's any security for the parking garage. If it's a closed garage, then there's going to be a door.
Right.
And if there's a door, everybody who's got a car is going to have either a key or a passcode to get in.
Or remote control.
If it's open, then it's going to be subject to cold weather in the wintertime.
Right, which is
So-
not good, your
So it's just
sprinkler
a
gonna
question as to
freeze.
what it was going to be.
I would recommend you have a door with remote
So
control.
what's the plan? What's it gonna be?
Plan, even the old plan shows a door, but this is what I mean, that's it's a good observation.
Yeah.
He couldn't see it in the plan. We intend to answer it point by point, so that we get it right to Mr. Rowley. Call him Charlie, I guess, I don't know, I'm supposed to call you, but I'll tell you right now.
Call me Joe, I don't care.
Okay, Joe. So what we'll do is we'll give you an answer point by point, and most of it, I not only agree with you, I'm glad you pointed it out. So the thing with the door, yes, there is a door, there's a security system, if you want to know what it is, we'll give it to you.
No,
Same
I
with the
just wonder what it
generator.
was,
Well, you
because
do. You asked a
if there's
question.
no door, it seems to me you need to have security.
There is a door, yeah. And the
Well,
generator.
you have a bigger issue than security freezing your sprinkler system.
Exactly, it's going to be heated.
So it's
heated
gonna
garage.
be a sophisticated door to close after 3 minutes if it's left open, one of those things.
Oh, yeah.
Insulated, certain insulation has to pass whatever
There was
mass check.
My engineer is a sprinkler engineer. We use frost-proof. There are sprinkler heads that have like a dry charge in them if they're close to a door.
Dry
Okay,
system in the
even
Not a dry
better.
system, no, it's gonna sink, no, anyhow. The generator, for instance, would have an enclosed, it doesn't show, I'll give you the cut sheet. We just did it in Boston, right across from St. Cecilia's Church, and the father there is very, very particular. We put a generator, the enclosures, you can almost, it's probably as loud as this when they're running. So we would make that enclosed, but I'll give you the cut sheet. It's a
I
good
mean, why you
question.
wanna put your generator here, don't put it behind your maintenance building?
It's too
Makes
far,
sense.
it's too far to bring the, electrically, it's better down there. And it's out of the
And
way.
there, for maintenance, noise, near
Oh,
the
there's-
highway there, doesn't, it's much,
Is
I
that
would.
same generator going to work with the sewer pumps if they fail during a powder outage?
Well, they're
If
gonna
they
have
do,
to
then the
design it
electric line's got to
properly.
go there anyway.
Absolutely, I mean,
Have to
you know,
design, there's no sense having 2 generators, right?
no, it would be,
It has to be big enough to handle everything.
I did it at Berkeley College. It's big enough to handle the college, and it's across the street from Father Uni, who goes on television every now and then. He's a great guy, but he's pretty picky.
Now, is your generator, not that it matters, is it gonna be oil or natural gas?
Natural gas.
Yeah, I would
Oh, I
say,
thought it was solar.
so you don't have to deal with gas.
I don't know, yeah, that depends on the solarium.
Miriam's getting to be used up already.
So you don't have to use an oil tank, then you become another thing with oil tank. It's gonna
No,
be
yeah, no,
big.
no, it'd be natural gas, and it's amazing that you can stand next to it, you can hardly hear it running.
All right, let's
The only-
go.
Mr. Chairman, the only other thing that was redlined there that I just wanted to point out is number 5 on that last page. And the fact that there's no door there in the lower level means that it's conflict with the floor plans that have been shown. So I just want to know from a plan point of view, let's make them consistent.
Right.
So it's not only that wall that I've been talking about and the stairwell that goes up to those patios, but a pedestrian door that was next to the garage opening that doesn't show on this set of plans.
We absolutely, you need to update, you need to bring this letter to Mr. Churchill and have it updated accordingly.
I was there today, Mr. Chairman, and I went over every item, and we can answer all of them, I think, correctly, and take the suggestion. The suggestion about the gravel area, we're still, by taking Charlie's suggestion, we're still below the impervious.
I strongly recommend coming in with a radius of 50. I don't think the state would allow you coming in with a radius of 30. I had few issues with them.
He said, well, they said the radius of 30 is allowed.
Okay. They're
I mean,
gonna make
at
you
Mass
choose.
DOT, that was, I'll,
It's allowed to a certain project like this, they're not gonna let you with 30. But maybe they may let, I don't know. But I've had things that always make me do a 50 coming in, so.
well,
All right, let's go back to the board, see what where we're gonna send. So as far, right now, JC Engineering has to address this. You need a
Right.
letter from Commissioner, and, no, you need that bylaw for parking for us for next time.
Yeah, I'll submit something.
We need that, we need,
So there needs to be a wall.
For site plan.
JC Engineer, site, more detailed site plan, we need architecture plan. Maybe Veronica and Richard can exchange numbers with the
If
applicant.
they could-
talk.
I think if Jillian can handle that, and
Right,
I
I
want to
mean,
do
that
that
could be
correctly. And I'd be glad, I don't want to do anything, behind the scenes. I just would like to show you and explain it.
totally legit.
Pardon me?
It's totally legit to talk to them.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, no, we're
But
not
if
doing
you can
behind the
give
scene.
her the contact information. I don't,
We'll
I'm
reach
listening
out.
to what you say, and I'll put it on paper, and it doesn't waste the board's time. I can show you 2 or 3 different iterations of what I think
You're gonna be
what you
able to be
want.
back in 2 weeks, or do you need 4?
I'm gonna need 4.
Where's that wind coming from?
Okay.
I can't do it in 2, because I don't know how we can do the test pits. That's something that
It's windy.
he asked for, and I agree with it. It's an old test pit, so.
I think, unless there's something pressing, I think we need to move this along. We got 5 or 6 other people.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to take the
No.
time.
We got a room full of people.
Yeah. So let's
Some of them
let's
yawning.
continue.
I don't know if they find your application boring, or if they're just tired.
All right, Wednesday 14. July 14, the second one. Okay, you okay to
July
continue?
14th?
Yes.
Make a motion to continue for 4 weeks.
So we can, motion to continue until July 14 by Jim. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Richard. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay,
Aye,
so
aye,
we
aye.
see you on the 14th. 22-20.
Get out of here.
Thank you,
Bring
thank
back
you,
some
thank you.
plans, some pictures, some drawings.
I don't know. I'll
Get that
have,
forensic scientist to draw you some nice graphics.
I will have plans to discuss long before that.
All right, very
I
well.
intend to.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Okay.
That's the wrong agenda. One moment. Where do the agenda? Lost it already?
What do you look, what'd you lose, your mind?
Yeah, I'm still. The agenda.
What is it, Bob?
Can I have your agenda, quick?
You can't hear
Do
me?
you have a microphone there, Ken?
Yeah, thank you. All right,
get their microphone off.
next on our agendas, we have 24-21, Elisa Moore, special permit, 2 Sarah Beth Lane. Is Mrs. Elisa Moore here, Morse here? Elisa Morse?
Is this on here by mistake, or was she coming back? Is this the one that, the cleaning service that wanted to run an office?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what's the deadline on this? Ken?
22,
You got July
22
27th,
days.
you got until the 2 more meetings.
All right, let's continue it. Let's continue 24-21, July 14. Can I have a motion?
so moved.
I have a motion to continue Elisa Morse to July 14. Do I have a second?
Anybody?
I second.
Yeah.
Second by Richard. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain.
Aye.
To clarify on this, you were asking for information from Dave Requena about compliance with the zoning at the site.
For clarification, so that was, that's the one that we thought maybe the
For parking?
complaint about the containers was actually on the neighbor's yard and not on this yard?
That's right.
Okay, so did you know that, Naz?
What is it?
The person that came and complained against this applicant,
Yeah.
it now
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
as though the container that they were complaining about was in somebody else's yard.
I'm not sure about that. I think
there was
somebody,
one-
the
one
neighbor
of-
had one too, but I think they have
But
some.
they have one,
Yeah.
but there was a neighbor, so they were considering that they had 2. There was only one on their property, and there was one on an adjoining property.
So we're looking into that and they haven't found out yet. Okay.
All right, we'll address this matter when we get to it.
3021?
1 second, let me take my notes so we're not. Who sat on that one? This is,
Mark,
oh, that's Richard also.
You trying to figure out who's on it?
No, this one is Richard and Chris. Veronica, you're not on it. You missed that meeting, that opening meeting, so.
Which one?
Sarah Beth.
No, I was present, and I watched,
On the opening, you were present?
I was
the
present
first
for all
time?
of them except the last one, but I watched the whole video.
Okay, let's see who was from to begin with. 24-21. Oh,
What
it's
are we on,
Richard.
20, what are we on, 24, 21?
That's Richard also. Good thing I take notes, right?
I know, I think there's a new pandemic, though. I see a lot
All
of
right,
people
let's
riding
move to the
around with
public hearing.
masks on their neck.
30-21 Howard Markley, variance,
There's a hippie
1013th
pandemic.
Street.
The zoning board of appeals will hold an online public hearing. Actually, it'll be in-person public hearing on June 23rd, 2021 at 6:30 PM to consider petition number 3021 for variances from the requirements of Article 6, Table 622, and Article 6, Section 628 under the Wareham zoning bylaws for Howard F. Markley, Jr. of 40 William Street, Beverly, Mass., seeking to construct a new single-family dwelling on a vacant parcel of land located at 10 13th Street, Wareham, Mass., Assessors Map 1, Lot 344 in the OV2 zoning district.
Okay, very well. This one, Mr. Conte will be sit on this matter. Just name and address for the records and let us know what you're doing.
Howard Markley,
Okay,
Dominic Camerano,
okay, your address just for her.
2 West Boulevard, Onset, Mass.
Okay, very well. Who's gonna present the case? Who's presenting the case? Go ahead.
I am.
Go
Good
ahead.
evening, Board. I'm gonna push your memory back. We were here a few times, and we run into some problems that the board helped us work out. Sorry it took us so long with the architect and the pandemic and all that. We worked out everything. The last problem that we had, Veronica, the board.
Yeah,
Sorry about the name.
Debonese, that's okay.
She came up with, the neighbors were complaining that the height was too high, and she came up with 27 feet, and
26, I recall.
27 feet, and everyone seemed to, agree on it, so we had the architect do it. Sorry it took so long, but it's now at 27 feet, which was what everyone wanted from 35.
Okay. I remember this clearly, so let's start by the board. Chris, what do you think?
So the original reason it looks like they were here for is Table 622, adequate land area and lot frontage, and Article 6, 628, lawfully existing lots in the village. The proposed structure is too large for the parcel in question. So I guess they're here for FAR, I think it is. Mr. Requena says 25% is permitted, but I thought I looked it up and it maybe is 30%, and they're requesting, I guess, 43%. And the coverage, 23% where 20 is permitted, I guess, so. I'm just stating, it looks like that's originally why they're here, not for height variance. I really don't have any questions at this time. I did look at it. Looks like you put a flat roof on it now.
Correct.
We came down with that so that we could get to the 27.
Okay, Veronica?
I appreciate Chris's reiteration of what this whole thing was. I know that height was the sticking issue, but I think we need to look at this as a whole. But I do like the fact that it's down to what was requested. Thank you.
All right,
Like I said, the main problem that, we originally had was, when I bought it through the town with the building on it, and the building was pretty bad shape, and the kids were in it, the police was there, and then the real estate market failed. I tore the building down, and not knowing the law as much as I didn't get a building permit within the year, I believe it was. So then it just sat vacant for a while. The market's hot now, there was a building on it. I mean, it has town storage, has everything. All the lots on all those streets there are 3,600 square feet. Every lot in that whole area is the same size. So, that's, and
If I recall, when we went over this before, we kind of sent them away with a consensus that we were okay with the FAR, and we were okay with the frontage, and we were okay with the lot size. The big bone of contention seemed to be the height. They seem to have come back, and I think the biggest thing was there was a neighbor that had a lot to say, and perhaps what we need to do is get to the public portion of this hearing and see if the neighbors are still aggrieved or have found some solace in the changes.
yeah, and that's gonna be a thick roof to carry that snow for a flat roof, but Anyway, let's finish with the, Jake, do you have a comment?
I'm okay with the project.
Okay, Richard? That's Chris, okay. Going back to the public, anyone in favor first, in favor of this project? Here none, against? Okay, ma'am, wanna come forward, state your name if you don't mind? Dominic, do you mind give her your seat, because she has a mask on, it'll be more considerate. Take your time, ma'am.
Oh, okay, thank you. I can take my mask off to talk.
Okay.
There
Your
were-
name and address for the record.
My name is Holly Van Nest. I live at 12 13th Street, and my partner Kathleen Barry is here as well.
Yeah.
There was a third person here from 8 13th Street. He was here with his child, who you heard out in the...
Right,
in the-
and she had to leave.
Finally had to take him home to go to bed, so, because he's a single parent, or he would have been here talking also. So we all know that we were here before. My belief is that we agreed to 26 feet, not 27, and if you look at the minutes...
Correct, I do agree, I remember this, that was 26 feet.
So I would like them to stick to the 26. Also, their original proposal last year didn't include gutters or drain pipes, and they did agree to include them. It looks on this plan like there are drain pipes that end at a dry well, but we just want to be clear that the drainage plan should also include gutters, as well as the drain pipes ending at the dry well. And while I understand that you all decided that you were okay with the FAR last time, it's also my understanding this is a brand-new project because they were denied without prejudice, so they could bring it back, but it's a
Right.
new project, and I want to raise objections about the FAR again. Whether it's supposed to be 25% or 30%, they're asking for 43%, which is a huge increase. And while I understand that all of the houses in that neighborhood are on small lots, on our side of the street, there are 10 houses on 9 properties. And they're all small homes on very small lots. This would be a totally different style of house, much higher. And our house is, our street is already very crowded. We are in OV2, which is supposed to have moderate density. Now, all those houses in that area were built before any of that came about. But if what we want is to promote moderate density, then I don't think increasing the FAR for this is doing that. I think it just increases the density there and doesn't try to promote moderate density. We're in a flood zone there. Now, I don't pretend to be an architect or a builder or a geologist or whatever I need to do to understand this stuff. It took me a lot to be able to understand what I've been able to understand so far, because I had to look on a little laptop screen at the plans and make it big and scroll back and forth to try to understand. But from my understanding, we're in zone AE, which means that we have a 1% annual chance of being flooded. So that doesn't sound like much. But according to FEMA's website, over 20% of National Flood Insurance Program claims are filed for properties in low or moderate risk areas. And I would ask you to take a walk on our street during a downpour, and you will see the flooding that happens in front of our property and in front of their property. And taking away more, and we have a big open space in front of us. And one of the reasons that we know that flooding in dense areas happens is because there's not enough open space and ground for the water to go in. So if you're gonna take away another piece of open space where the water goes, it's just gonna get worse there. And we're supposed to be, paying attention to climate change and the impact on the environment. and trying to create a community that's sustainable and, you know, that will work well for everybody. And taking away open space like that in a very dense neighborhood. I mean, in the whole block, if you include the houses across the street, there's 17 houses. But on our side, there's 10. That's a lot in one block. So we really would like you to reconsider the FAR. I understand that that may mean that the height has to come down even more, but I think we're at a point where you need to make a decision that is best for the neighborhood, best for the town, not just because somebody wants to build a bigger house. So we ask you to reduce the height, at least to the 26 feet that we had agreed to, make sure that the gutters are on there, and reevaluate the FAR based on these things. So,
Okay.
thank
Let
you.
me ask a question. What size house, thank you, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. What size house was in there before, the one you tore down?
Same footprint that we have.
Yeah, how much
It
square,
was
how
two-
many?
It was a two-story. I don't remember the exact.
Two-story,
height.
right.
Sorry. It was a two-story, one of the same footprint. And, you know, as far as, you know, open space and flood,
Listen, this is not our jurisdiction, flood, open space, this is conservation. The question, you will have to go to conservation anyway. The question here is, you have to make, we'll see how the board feels about it.
okay,
If the board agrees with you, it's fine. The only problem you're facing, that your neighbor has to agree, because it's a variance. She goes to court, you lose us 100%.
I didn't quite hear you, I apologize.
I said, we're gonna run it by the board, see how the board feels about it.
Okay,
If the board agrees to give you a variance,
yes,
and your neighbor is not happy with the plans,
Yes.
she goes to court, you lose as a guarantee.
well, that's
So-
a chance I'm gonna have to take, I guess.
Well, you will lose, I'm telling you right now, you will lose with that variance.
Okay.
If the board, if you wanna work with the neighbor, work with the board, and the neighbor let it go, we feel the board feel to grant you a variance, feels that the hardship exists because the house was there, I totally understand, tough times and everything. I believe you should be able to rebuild the house. However, still a variance, and your neighbor has to be happy with it. Okay? So I'm gonna start by Chris.
Are
What do
there
you
any
thi-
other, before we?
Yeah.
Any other,
No, they said
From the
they
public?
together
Yeah, my partner's here, and I spoke for both of us.
Right.
And then the other person who was
has
here had
left,
to leave.
the other person.
Okay.
Anyone else?
sure we
Okay,
have no-
anyone else? Okay. Let's go back to the board. Chris, you're gonna vote on this, so what do you think?
I'm actually okay with the plans that he has.
You okay the way they are?
Yep.
Okay. Veronica?
I'm okay with it too. I mean, I know, regarding the coverage of the lot, the floor area ratio is different from lot coverage,
Oh, I
which
understand.
affects,
Yeah, no, I know.
The water.
It includes all of all
Okay.
the floors, yeah.
and because it's in the same footprint that was there, this is one of the reasons why, I'm okay with what's presented. The 27 feet, I think, you're right, it was supposed to be 26, but I
35 is the limit, is the zone, is the bylaw.
yeah. So, I mean, I
But
think,
they agreed to 26.
Last time they did.
yeah. So I'm not sure where that 1 foot would come from. I mean,
Let me interrupt for a second.
okay.
Mr. Sample has come up with a great idea last time to come up the top floor, like cathedral ceiling, and you gain that height. Because I think this look of a house is gonna look odd in there. You're the only flat roof in the neighborhood.
Only way I could get to the 27.
Actually, the two houses down, the guy with the heating, company gets a flat.
Yeah, grab this mic, Dominic, right there. Put it on, push the green button.
Actually, facing the property, the third house down, the gentleman runs like a heating company, their house is a flat roof.
So it's not the only house on the street, you know, with a flat roof. Like I said, that was the only way we could go down on the height that we thought, that the architect thought would be right. I mean, it was a, you know, a pointy roof at one time, but, you know, the building code says 35 feet, and, you know, we wanted to work with the neighbor. I know me and her have had some problems, but I feel that we went down and, you know, with the height, we did the gutters, we did the dry wells. I just thought we compromised, you know, enough. I'm gonna have to just leave it up to the board.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Can I ask a question, actually? Have you seen new plans?
What I could see on the little laptop, scrolling and seeing one piece at a time, yes. And I printed them out, got out my little magnifying glass and was looking at everything, so.
Okay, I just wanted to
yeah.
make sure that you were aware of what that looked
No,
like.
I have seen them, yeah.
All right, Jimmy, what do you think? Jim,
I'm all set.
you good? Jake,
I'm okay with this.
you okay? Richard, any comment? Ma'am, do you want to look at the plans? I have them printed.
No, it's okay.
You good?
I did print them. They just are, you know, not big.
Make a motion, we close this public portion of this hearing.
Okay, motion to close. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jake. All in favor, say aye.
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 I'm no, but it passes, so we closed. A motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and the finding,
Any conditions?
standard condition and the finding meets statutory requirement of, I believe, of a variance, yeah.
Yep.
Can we also add regarding the drainage?
Yeah, I'll take that amendment, that the
Condition.
drainage is,
With the, it's okay, it's closed, we discuss. So, Veronica's condition is that the drainage and the roof drain to have a dry well designed properly and approved by the commissioner to collect all the water, okay? Any other conditions? Okay, so that's Jim's motion and Veronica conditions. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Veronica, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, sorry. Aye.
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 Okay, and I abstain, so it carries. Thank you. And ma'am, as,
I do appreciate your taking another look at it. I am very disappointed. The house that I love has just had a knife put in it, so.
I'm sorry to hear this, but under
I understand.
state laws,
I understand. I just
you
want
know,
you to know.
you have the right
the
to appeal this
ramifications of
under
it.
section 17,
Okay,
40A, section 17.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. And good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
North Star Management has been continued. We're going to 3221 to Joseph.
Thomas De Joseph, special permit of variance 61 South Boulevard, map 1, lot 17A.
Could you continue North Star Management?
We already continued the North Star.
Actually, vote on it.
No, we gotta vote on it.
Oh, you want to vote on it?
We have to. Okay, on 31-21 North Star Management, we have to open the hearing, then continue. All right, let's read the hearing onto the record. We open, then continue.
The zoning board of appeals will hold an online public hearing on June 23rd, 2021 at 6:30 PM and to consider petition number 3121 for a use variance from the requirements of Article 3, Section 320 and Article 14, Section 1471 under the Wareham zoning bylaws to North Star Management care of Dennis Conroy, Esquire, 245 Main Street, Wareham, Mass. Proposing to create a new storage facility in the industrial zoning district where storage facilities are not permitted by right. Located at 2400, 2402 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass. Assessors map 108, lot 1002 B1, 1002 B2, 1002 D, 1003 B1, 1003 B2, and 1003 B3 in the industrial zoning district.
Okay, so public hearings open. Can we get a motion to continue?
So moved.
We have a motion to continue 31-21 till July 14. Do I have a second? Second by Jake. All in favor, say aye. And this one will be Mr. Sample in this matter. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, so that will continue until the 14th. And now we go to 32-21, Thomas de Joseph.
Zoning Board of Appeals will hold an online public hearing on June 23rd, 2021 at 6:30 PM to consider petition number 3221 for a special permit and/or variance from the requirements of Article 6, Table 622, and Article 13, Section 1352 under the Wareham zoning bylaws to Thomas and Sharon de Joseph of 16 Barnum Road, Danbury, Connecticut, care of Paul Clark Home Improvement of 26 Access Road, East Wareham, Mass., proposing to raise and reconstruct the existing deck located at 61 South Boulevard, East Wareham, Mass. Assessors Map 1, Lot 17A in the OV2 zoning district.
All right, your name, sir, and address?
Paul Clark, 26 Access Road, East Wareham.
Okay, wanna tell us what you're doing?
The homeowners would like to put a roof over their existing back deck. In order to do so, the deck needs to be raised and footings poured to support the weight of the roof. By adding a roof overhang and a gutter, it's going to change the existing footprint by 1 foot all around. And they just want to screen in the porch and add a roof.
All right, let me look.
Non-conforming lot, obviously. It's small. They want to gain, the deck will be rebuilt in exactly the same footprint, but because it's added a roof overhang and gutter, it enlarges the footprint. But the deck will remain exactly the same as it is now.
Okay. All right, very well. This is one of those cases if the board, because it's an existing non-conforming, if the board feel is less detrimental to the neighborhood, we could treat it as a special permit. Otherwise, it becomes a variance.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
went by there today. The shape of this deck and the shape that the deck is that's there is not the same. You have a rectangle deck that's on the ground. This is a different shape to it.
No, I don't know where you went by, but
I was there today, there was a car from Connecticut in the yard.
South
I
Boulevard,
walked in, I looked over the back rail, and what I saw was a square deck.
I provided a lot of pictures.
The picture shows a square deck too, to me, I think.
It's basically the shape of if you took a gambrel barn and laid it flat on the ground. Is what it is.
It looks like the patio, at grade, is the shape of a gambrel roof, but the raised
I
portion...
went by it, I thought it was
deck
square, but I
is
guess
square.
in this picture it's not, but I don't know what I was looking at.
You look at the plan, the plot plan,
Looking at this picture right here, your picture,
okay?
right?
But I did go by today, and I knocked on the door, and I rang the doorbell, and nobody answered, so I was there about 2 o'clock. So I just wish I was able to get inside, because I was only looking over the fence, so maybe I didn't see very clear.
Is the deck at grade, or is it...
Deck is at grade.
And is there a raised portion of the deck?
The whole deck is about 8 inches, just the width of the 2 by
Sitting right on the ground.
on the ground.
Could I ask if the applicant, could come up for a
Yes,
minute?
yes, sure.
Could you,
Let me
would you mind
finish
coming
my
up here
note.
just for clarification, because we don't want to roast a chicken when we got a lobster in the oven. Is that the deck?
Yeah, that's the deck.
Well-
It goes from this corner over to the bulkhead, it comes out,
So
so
what's
that
it,
picture shows.
that's a raised portion of the
The
deck?
whole deck is raised, this is the deck right here.
But, see,
No, it's just, the ground is right there, it's an 8-inch, the deck is 8 inches above the ground.
okay,
Top
thank you,
of the deck.
thank you for
Sits right
coming
on
up.
the ground.
Are you done with your comment?
Yes, I am, sir.
Thank you. Do you mind?
Yeah, sure, go
I
ahead.
make a motion that we continue this so that we can get out there and get a look at this. It's not clear to me. I also want to suggest that because it's going to be covered and because it's going to require a foundation, it's going to actually be considered part of the residence, and that's also going to affect the FAR, and
I
that
believe
might
it's not a
require...
foundation, I believe it's on sonotubes of Bigfoot.
Okay, is it sonotubes? Okay,
Foundation.
okay.
All right, before we continue, does anyone in the audience want to speak in favor of this matter? Anyone against? Okay, we hear none. Excuse me? Okay,
Well,
you
gotta
wanna
say-
come forward, state your name if you wanna say in favor, just for the records, because somebody's taking note. Say your name. Name and address for the record.
My name is Thomas DeJoseph,
Okay,
61 South Boulevard in Onset.
yeah.
My
And
permanent
you-
address
apparently you're
is
the
16
applicant.
Barnum Road, Danbury, Connecticut. The deck is not a rectangular deck.
It's misunderstanding, it's fine.
I said it was, I'm sorry, when I looked over the fence, I could have swore I saw a square.
We were there all day today.
Well, you didn't answer your
That's,
door, I'm not
okay,
gonna
that's
call you a liar,
fine.
but I
We're
was
not
there
here
and
to
I rang the
argue,
doorbell, you didn't answer.
misunderstanding. It's okay, misunderstanding.
Okay.
He look at the wrong house, probably.
So we have a deck
Okay,
that's there. We just want to replace it and put a roof on it
okay,
and
All right.
screen it in.
all right. Okay, there's proper channel you have to go through, which happens all the time. That's all. It'll happen, believe me. Okay, so very well. That being said, so Jim, what's your wishes?
My motion is to continue so that any members of the board that are unclear can get out there and get a look at this and be clear on it before we vote. At least I would like to be clear on it before I vote.
Okay, do I have a second on that motion? Is everybody in agreeing to that motion?
I agree.
Okay, one
Got a
second.
second from Chris.
Let's see who's sitting on that. 1 second, that's why I like
Yep,
to
no
take
problem.
notes. 31-21. This one, Chris sitting on it. Chris, do you have a second?
Yeah, second.
Okay, second by Chris. All in favor to continue to go take a look at it, say aye.
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 Okay, I guess myself, aye. So I guess we're gonna continue until next time.
Back in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, the board members are gonna wanna go take a look at it,
Okay?
and we
I
go.
want to be there when they come.
Okay.
I want to know when they're coming, and I want to be there when they're coming.
All right.
You can all come tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
Now, I gotta keep in mind, when you file for an application, you automatically give us the right to go look, so just so you know.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
okay,
okay with that, but I mean,
All right,
you can't go look over the fence and say it's a rectangle, because it's not.
that's fine.
I said I made a mistake, and secondly, I did ring the doorbell, and I was there, so.
That's
and
fine.
and nobody answered the door, so I don't know what to tell you,
Sir, can you leave your phone number on a piece of paper?
I looked over the
Sir.
fence, I didn't see you out back.
That's fine. Do you know what I need? Excuse me, there's no
Door was
argument.
half cracked open to the
Richard,
front door,
please,
just to let
let's
you know
stop.
That was the house.
It's all
Richard,
good.
all good.
It's all good. You're not getting a no.
Let me see, is this your phone number here, so we don't say it publicly?
731,
Huh?
1232.
Ken's getting it for
No,
us.
it's right here, the 203. Is the 203 your number? Okay, very good. I'll pass it to the board. They'll call you when they go there. Okay? So we have motion to continue. It passes, right?
Yep.
Everybody on the application, just don't say it publicly. The phone number's right there. So give the gentleman a call and the ma'am there and go visit.
Will they be coming to the next hearing?
The next hearing on the 14th. Yes. All right. I gotta get back in the system here. So it did pass the motion to continue, right?
It did.
All right, we'll see you on the 14th. Thank you. You're very welcome. You'll hear from the board members. The 14th. All right, 33-21 Smithers, AMC LLC, special permit, independent MJ testing lab, 790 Main Street, map 81, lot 1020. Want to come forward, please?
Zoning Board of Appeals will hold an online public hearing on June 23rd, 2021 at 6:30 PM to consider petition number 33-21 for a special permit from the requirements of Section 390 and Section 1461 under the Wareham zoning bylaws. The Smithers AMS LLC of 790 Main Street, Wareham, Mass. 02571, proposing to operate an independent marijuana testing lab within a single 1,300 square foot room at the existing facility at the street address known as 790 Main Street, Wareham, Mass. Assessors map 81, lot 1020 in the MR 30 zoning district.
Okay, name and address for the record. And please.
Eric Steele, 61 Boston Hill Road, Fairhaven.
Okay. Sir?
Jesse Alderman from Foley Hog, counsel to Smithers AMS.
Okay, want to present your case? It's whoever.
Ken, I've got slides here.
Thank you.
Richard, did you, who sat on Joseph, the previous one, you or Chris? The previous hearing, you sat on it? Who did I? On 13, okay, so that's,
Smithers.
that's
Where's the bathroom?
Thomas.
Line through there.
I was on what,
The-
3221 I was on?
That's you, okay. Okay, let's take 2-second recess until Jim go to the bathroom. Okay, very well, let's hear it.
Thank you. Good evening. I have just a couple slides here just to give an overview of the operation that we're proposing here. First slide, please. So as you may be aware, the current testing facility owned by Smithers at 790 Main Street is an environmental testing lab. We cover 5 main categories of testing for agrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, and industrial chemicals. Environmental fate, metabolism looks at effects of the environment on the chemical. Product chemistry looks at what the chemical is, what the properties of the chemical are. Ecotoxicology looks at what the potential harm of that chemical could be to environmental organisms. And residue chemistry looks at how much residual pesticides could be on food crops that we eat. The marijuana testing or the cannabis testing that we're proposing to do overlaps 2 main areas of our existing business, which is product chemistry and residue chemistry. What is the product, and ultimately what are potential contaminants within that product? The site itself has been in operation by the Smithers organization since 1969. Facility is in a pre-existing non-conformance use in zone MR30 and is in compliance with zoning bylaw 1374. The proposed lab would not require any dimensional or building alterations nor any site or exterior changes. We're using a lab that's currently vacant within the facility to add this new service line. There are 178 parking spaces on site which comply with the current zoning bylaw. And essentially we're looking at no increase to traffic to the facility. 1 to 4 sample deliveries per day is what we're expecting. No exterior signage will be added to the building indicating that marijuana testing is happening within the facility. And we'll have to add the appropriate security systems to be in compliance with the Cannabis Control Commission's regulations.
Okay, let me ask, are you done?
I just have a couple more slides.
Okay, go ahead.
And just to give some context, we're looking at small quantities of marijuana being on site when you're comparing to a cultivation or a processing or even a retail facility. We're looking at teaspoon equivalent sample sizes, processing 8 to 10 per day. And at the end of testing, pretty much the entire sample has been destroyed by the testing process. Any waste that's disposed of has to be rendered unusable per the CCC regulations, so there's no risk to usable marijuana being just disposed into a dumpster. And at last week's town meeting, the town did adopt 2 changes to bylaws pertaining to our business here, the buffer setback from the Deacon's School, and then the allowance of a special permit in the existing zoning. And again, just to give some context, we're looking at potentially 2 months of overlap. We're looking to be operational end of October, beginning of November. And as you know, the Deacon's School is scheduled to close at the end of December. I think there might be one more slide. As I mentioned earlier, security features will be installed. Access is very tightly controlled to this portion of the facility, so existing Smithers employees will not have access to this piece of the facility. It's only those that are registered with the Cannabis Control Commission that have gone through an extensive background check. The CCC will send inspectors out to inspect the facility, and any operating plans for compliance and security and such will also be shared with local law enforcement and such. Visitors are badged, signed in, signed out when they come into the facility, and all material stored on site will be locked at all times unless it's being actively tested.
Okay.
One more slide.
Okay.
Oh, is there one more? And to wrap up, we see that this is, has positive impact on the community by bringing additional high-paying scientific jobs to our location. We've been in business and in good partnership with the town of Wareham for 51 years, participating in STEM events, providing internships, and turning our eye to local hires where we can. And we also see that we're bringing a level of professionalism and ethics to an industry that could be potentially plagued by that, or the perception that they could be plagued by that.
While you're writing, do
Thank
you
you.
mind if I ask? Naz?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Do you mind if I ask him?
No.
Is this the same application that came in front of us prior to the town meeting, and didn't we already vote on this, or?
No, we did.
Did we continue it to wait till after the town meeting, or? This was in front of us already.
Town meeting, 3-month nail.
Huh?
Town meeting was 3-month nail.
No. This was in front of us, this item was in front of us already.
This was brought up as a discussion item with the zoning board of appeals, so that you'd know what was coming before the town meeting.
It was prior to the town meeting, and we anticipated the difference in
You
the,
were introduced to it, yeah.
so we didn't vote on it, we just discussed it. Is that what?
Right, just discussed it as an article.
I
before
thought
town
we
meeting.
voted, we said, okay, it's legal for them to have more pot in their pocket and smoke it in their car, but they gotta go through an act of Congress to have a teaspoon of it in their lab.
It's a fair assessment, but I don't believe there's been a formal vote. I think we got a sense of the board at a
Right.
prior meeting.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, because I distinctly remember driving around the building after dropping a 7-year-old off at school and saying, no, I'm just curious, it's been there all these 50-something years, and I never drove, I went down by the dam before and drove right by it, but never drove through the parking lot. Couldn't find anybody smoking pot in their cars, but, because that would be legal, but this you need our permission for.
That's correct. It was about a year-long process to get this license.
Yeah, okay, I get it, that's our federal government and our state and our local governments. A teaspoon is very concerning and requires many, many people to decide upon, but an ounce or less is legal, and we can carry it and smoke it, drive down the street intoxicated, and nobody bothers us. I'm all done with my questions.
Okay. This one would be Richard sitting on that one.
Situation.
Richard, so I'm gonna start by Chris. Do you have any comment on that?
No, I don't have any comments.
So let me be clear. So all what you do adding a product to your testing, are you changing anything in the building or anything? So you're looking for a use variance, kinda? Okay.
Well, a special permit to add a use or a new use, whatever you want to
A
call it.
special permit.
Not a variance.
They need permission to do it. They
Okay.
can't just do
Alright,
it because
very
there's
good.
a stupid cannabis
Correct.
bylaw.
It's a use allowed only by special permit under your bylaw.
You're not adding a building, nothing.
No dimensional changes,
Yeah.
no exterior, no sign, no nothing.
Just come closer to the mic when you speak.
Excuse me. No.
That's okay. Veronica.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Veronica.
I don't have any questions.
No. Jim, you made,
I just, looking to see if there's any crowd
Jake.
from the public coming in to
I'm
oppose
okay
it.
with this.
No questions at
no
this time?
question. Okay, this one will be Richard sitting on that one. Let me see that. Richard, yep. All right, anyone in the audience want to speak in favor of this matter? Anyone against? I hear not. Charlie, do you have any input on that? It's all
Make a
lab
motion
stuff.
to close the public portion of this hearing.
Okay, I have motion to close public hearing.
I second.
Second by Richard, all in favor to close 32-21, say
Aye.
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 I
A
make a
motion
motion to grant permission as requested,
with the standard condition,
standard conditions.
with the special permit, with the findings that
Finding is
is
that-
not more
do we need to
detrimental.
decide that it's a special permit, not a variance?
It's a special permit.
Okay.
It's a special permit. So, standard condition and the findings not detrimental to the neighborhood. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Jake, all in favor, say aye.
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 Jake?
Aye.
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 Okay, it carries.
Thank you for all
Thank
your
you.
hard work, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Hey,
Maybe
Jim,
you'll
I
buy
have a
the
question
school
for
for
you.
good money from us after.
Jimmy,
That'll be your next project.
Passing, please.
I had no question for the applicant, but I had a question for you. Yeah, when we
No.
were looking for those spots.
Huge? Big? It had to be a lab, right?
I'll pee, I'll take a blood test, I'll do anything. Yeah. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't partake.
Are we
They
saving
can
all
take
this
my
paper,
hair, they can,
giving it back? Anything that's carried over, will we be getting, or do we hold on to it?
I've breathed in a lot of it, and I've had it smoked in the room down the hall from me. But
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Jake, second by Chris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose, abstain. You gotta sign before
What are
you
we
go.
talking about?
I need a pen.